I was supposed to record this video last week. And I've also recorded this like 3 times. I think it might be the inner perfectionist, maybe in a way. Or just wanting to be sure that it's clear and it makes sense. So, also my uncertainty about like, do I post this? Do I share this? Do I like all of those things? And so here we are. Not last week, but the week prior, I had a rough week, a rough mental week. I know why, but I am struggling with it a lot. The struggle is when God is pulling you out of something, but you don't know what He's pulling you into. I feel like He's trying to transition me into something new, but I'm not sure what that is for me. And I know that means nothing more than I need to lean into God even more and to take more time in solitude and to take more time to listen for what's next. But I can't deny that I have a frustration with this whole process of like, I'm here because I'm not moving until God tells me to move. I'm not going and walking into something that God hasn't approved for me to walk into. And I also am in a stage of my relationship that I am not trying to do anything to disappoint God. And I also am not trying to do anything that is not validated by God, because I love every single person in my life, family and friends, but I am not making movements in validation of them, because I know sometimes God will have me do things that are not in alignment and are not at the approval of those around me. Love my people dearly, but it's about God. It's not about them. It's not even about myself. So I've been very frustrated with where I am, because I know it's time for change, because I'm not being stretched anymore. I feel like I reached the capacity in which I'm being stretched, but the hardest part is what is next. It's very uncertain. I'm not completely sure. And so I've been on the mental spiral. The enemy gonna do what he do. And so like, I was in my head about what I could have done better or where I went wrong, dwelling on my imperfections and the mistakes that I've made, and just spiraling and just losing it, feeling like I'm not doing enough, or just feeling very confused, so much so that emotionally I couldn't keep it together at work, which is not thankful. Like, to be overly emotional at work to a point where like my tears were flowing was a lot. It was overwhelming. It also just felt so like don't even have the words completely for it, but like it just wasn't it for me. And if I'm be emotional anywhere, it could be anywhere else but there. And maybe that's just a thing I need to work through, but like, truly. But there's no blueprint for this, for our lives specifically. We have the word, we have God's promises, we have, scripture to lead us and guide us in the way that we are to show up, in the way we are to navigate certain things in our lives, but there's no specific blueprint. And so there are moments where things feel uncertain. There are moments where doubt tries to creep in. There are moments where insecurities try to creep in. There are moments where fear tries to creep in. And so as a result, like, you feel those things, and sometimes they become overwhelming because there is no exact blueprint for what it is. That in between of like what God showed you, what God told you to do, what God revealed to you that, you know, that He wants from you and want you to do. But in between all of that, to getting to that place in that space, there's no blueprint. And you just have to trust God on the journey and walk with Him on this journey. But it's not easy. And I think it's so easy to glorify the result, as I mentioned in one of my videos before, and not really glorify the process. I am in this space where I'm frustrated because I do feel stagnant. And that's scary to me, because being stagnant and feeling stagnant, I don't like to feel when things feel like they haven't changed or something's not changing, or I feel like I'm like restricted, or like I'm not being stretched the way I know I could be. I start to worry about am I doing what it is? Am I showing up the way God needs me to? And it also involves me being honest with myself about like my fear of disappointing God sometimes keeps me from making certain movements. And I can't just not move because I'm afraid of disappointing God. I still have to move, but I just have to just seek Him and lean into Him more and pray and listen for Him and read His word. I know that for sure, but it's not to take away from all of those things that I feel. But that spiral though was a lot. But I am grateful for sisterhood. I don't have no biological sisters. But the sisterhood that I have with a lot of my sister friends, and I was able to reach out to one of them. And usually I'm the type of person, like, I'm gonna talk to my mom about it, but like outside of my mom, I don't really like to bother people with my problems, because I am aware of people having their own issues. But to be able to reach out to my sister and say, I need to say what I need, and not have to really give the details, but to be able to say what I need, and then for her to be able to pray and give me words of encouragement, that was a blessing. To have someone not only to do that, but what they did, pointing me back to God. And that's a blessing, for sure. And I thank God for her. I thank God for that, because I'm in a space, I'm on this journey of like, it's all about God. And so it's not easy. And I had that moment, and it was frustrating because I felt like I was going backwards. I'm gonna be honest, I really did, because I've seen the growth, I've seen the healing that God has done, especially when it comes to my mental health. I see how much God has grown me in that space, and how much He has healed me in that space. And when I was having that moment, I'm not gonna lie, I was very like upset and very frustrated because I felt like I was moving backwards. But all it let me know was that I needed to lean into God more. I know God has a plan for me. I know everything's going to work together for my good, but I can't deny the fact that I feel very uncertain about what's next in my life, what's next for me. But I do know for a fact that I feel like Jacob. I will not let you go until you bless me. I also feel like I'm not moving to God say move. And I also feel like I'm not going into something God has not called me to. And so it's a lot, and it's a lot to process, because I have to really be honest and think about and get clarity. And I've been seeking clarity on, like, God, is it me in your way due to my uncertainty, due to my fears, due to my lack of discipline in moments, due to those things? Is it me in the way? Could I have missed it because I'm allowing my fear and all of those other things to dictate my actions? And so as a result, like, I'm operating from that space instead of a place of where, like, I'm doing what you said, not what my fear says, or my insecurities, or my doubts. Like, am I operating from a place of, like, lack of patience? Because God has been revealing a lot to me about timing and his perfect timing, and understanding that, like, in his timing, things will happen the way they are supposed to happen, when they are supposed to happen. And so it's that as well. So, but I know for a fact that God is calling for a chapter to close. I'm just trying to hear him for what the next chapter is. And so I've been fasting, and just truly, like, being in my word and taking a moment of solitude, of silence. Like, God can minister to us through people. God can speak to us in any situation, through people. But I also am aware of the fact that there are moments where God needs you to get in silence and solitude. And I know God is calling me to that right now, because it's just been confirmed a few times. And so, like, I just feel like, and he's been speaking it to me for a little minute, to, like, just be in solitude, to, like, really take time to just, like, step away from the crowd, because sometimes it's too noisy to really hear what it is that God is trying to say. And so, like, I'm really just been in it. And I know also this fast, during this fast, I've been tested and tried. And I'm gonna be honest, I do feel like I failed. But I know I'm human, and I know God knows me. And I've been repenting and praying and just asking God to, do what he needs to do in my heart to uproot anything that's not a reflection of who he has called me to be, and also transforming my mind on a lot of things. But I for sure know that this chapter is ending and a new one is beginning. It's just a matter of, like, I'm very uncertain what this next chapter is. But I know that I can't stand still, and I can't continue to stand still. And so I don't know. I can honestly say I don't know, but I'm willing to walk with God into the unknown. I'm trusting God even in the unknown, because I know God has a plan for me. So I hope I ain't talked y'all ear off too much. I hope it made sense. I also hope that even in this, it helps somebody to know that even in your uncertainty, God is with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. That's one thing I believe in my heart. It's something I feel like God says to me on a daily basis. But also to know that God has a plan, and it all works together for our good. It all works together for your good. Like, I know that in my heart for sure. And so yeah, we just gonna see what's next. And then until next time, please, peace, love, and